All right, if you want to learn the number one key to having an empowered relationship with yourself and others, energetically aligned to the life you desire, then you're gonna wanna stick around. I'm going to be talking all about one of the most important factors you need to thrive in life, and that is learning how to self-regulate. Today, I'm gonna be sharing key ways to start regulating your emotions. And this skill is really crucial for not only healing, but consciously creating a life you love. So this skill turns insecure attachment into a secure attachment. It supports you in consciously manifesting from your most aligned, authentic state. So if I had to go back and start my healing journey, self-development journey over, I would have learned this skill first. Once I started self-regulating, that's really when my life started to shift. So if you are ready to feel in control of your emotions, your thoughts, your actions, which is the essence of what creates your reality, then let's begin. Welcome, I'm Kaylin Hardikoff, a licensed relationship therapist and coach. So we learn how to self-regulate through co-regulation. When we are infants and our caregivers stay attuned to our cues so they can meet our needs, that's co-regulation. For example, when we are upset, they pick us up. When they notice we're hungry, they feed us. When we are in pain, they might sing to us. Yet if you weren't shown healthy co-regulation as a child, self-regulating as an adult might be hard, right? You didn't get modeled this. So it really requires you to essentially reparent yourself. Reparenting means giving yourself what you didn't receive in childhood. Co-regulation is the basis for good self-regulation. And to learn more about co-regulation, which is needed for any thriving relationship, I will link the video that I have on this below and maybe up here. From the start of life, the bond with our primary caregiver is key. That caregiver is often the mother, right? And this early bond teaches a baby how to manage their own emotional and physical state, not even as just a baby, but as they grow up. So the idea of attachment theory emphasizes the importance of this connection. When this connection is strong and positive, it helps a child develop coping skills for stress and emotions. Yet if this bond faces challenges, it can really interfere with this bond, with this connection. It can prevent a child from building a strong foundation for a secure attachment. Like when a caregiver is consistently overwhelmed by their own emotions, maybe the mother is always anxious and stressed out. In this case, the child may not learn how to calm themselves. And they may also pick up this anxious state as their nervous system's baseline. Now, when children are constantly being influenced by their caregiver's nervous system, they're going to get imprinted, right? If they're constantly around a mom that is constantly stressed out and overwhelmed, they are going to get imprinted by this. This can have long-term effects on a child. The child is constantly around someone who is stressed out and dysregulated. This is why people often say the ability to be the best mother is based on how much support she has. If she is doing everything, has no free time, is stressed out about bills and sleep, and has no time for herself, well, when we're in constant action mode, it can really lead to emotional dysregulation and put us in this stressed out response, this stressed out state. If we don't sleep, it leads to dysregulation. If we don't eat, moms, we can forget to eat sometimes. It can lead to nervous system dysregulation, which can put us again in this stress response. Support is vital for the primary caregiver of a child. Now, mothers don't always have a ton of, some might be with their baby 24/7, with their child 24/7, and have little space for themselves. So for instance, I'm with my daughter often, which means I have to get a little creative to make sure I'm nourishing myself, I'm doing the things to be proactive about staying in a relaxed state, to stay connected to myself, to stay not stressed out. So that might look like doing yoga next to my daughter, or while she's playing, or listening to a sleep meditation at night, you know, while she's sleeping next to me. I have to get creative and implement these things regardless whether she's with me or not, right? I have to make sure I'm nourishing myself. And I choose to be a stress-free and empowered mom. Being a drained, dysregulated mom, I'm not available for it. Not only because I know it's crucial for my well-being to be regulated and stress-free, it's also crucial for my child's development. It's crucial for her to develop this secure attachment. I'm regulated, she's regulated. I can support her. You know, with children too, with babies, we're helping them regulate all day. So how can you do that if you're in a stressed out state? It's super hard. So it makes it easier when you're calm and when you're relaxed. When we are stressed out, we're focusing on survival, which turns that part of the brain that deems connection is important off. We disconnect from our heart. It's hard to connect. It's hard to support our child or to support ourselves. So when we grow up with a strong bond with a caregiver, this propels kids to grow into a secure adult. They can form healthy relationships with others and themselves a lot easier. So without this secure base with a caregiver, people may struggle to manage their thoughts, emotions, and behaviors as adults. This struggle makes life harder to navigate and leaves them more open to stress and trauma. Why? Because when we're regulated, we're more connected to ourselves. We're more connected to authenticity. We can trust ourselves more, which is the best tool for survival in this world. You might feel like out of control in your life if you don't have this skill, if you don't have the skill of staying connected to yourself and staying regulated. Self-regulation is all about having good ways to calm down and also being proactive about implementing things into your life to stay calm and relaxed, or even changing certain things in your life, breaking certain habits to prevent enduring unnecessary stress. So this could be simply shifting a disempowering belief that creates thoughts throughout your day that gets you stressed out. So a common one that I hear about often is it's always something. It's always something bad's gonna happen, something bad's always happening to me, or I have bad luck. Notice how in your body that could make you feel. Or maybe you have this belief already. Notice how that makes you feel. Probably not that great, probably pretty disempowered, okay? So before we dive deeper, we first need to talk about what the nervous system is, because the nervous system plays a key role in self-regulation. The nervous system is like the body's control system, a communication network. It consists of the brain, spinal cord, and all of the nerves that run throughout the body. It helps you think, feel, and react to the world around you. The nervous system is basically in control of managing your dominant vibration, aka your thoughts are emitting vibrations, emotions are emitting vibrations. So the nervous system is in charge of your reality. It's in charge of what your dominant state is. But the good thing is you are able to take charge and be in control of your nervous system by self-regulating, being proactive about staying regulating. So when discussing self-regulation, it's key to know that the nervous system helps control how you respond to things like stress, fear, or danger. It does this through the autonomic nervous system, which has two main components. The sympathetic nervous system, so this part activates what is often called the fight, flight, freeze, and fawn response during stressful situations. Okay, this is what puts you in a stressed out state. This is an upregulated survival state. And then there is the parasympathetic nervous system. So this is the downregulated, relaxed state. So learning to self-regulate involves managing these stress responses effectively. So learning how to prevent that from actually happening. So we may experience an upregulated state when we have intense feelings. It just become too much for us. Being able to navigate uplifting and tough emotions is vital, okay, for our well-being. So if we struggle to cope with strong feelings, it can feel like we are on a constant emotional roller coaster, and this can cause really disturbed sleep, appetite changes, all the things. It can really create overwhelming worry, intense fear, a low mood, all these things. People may rely on unhealthy coping mechanisms like binge eating or substance abuse. Why? Because these things give us a quick fix, right? In a temporary, put us in a temporary relaxed state. However, it has negative consequences on our well-being to tap into these unhealthy coping mechanisms. We also might not show up as the best parent, the best friend we can be, the best business owner we can be, and so on, when we're in this constant stressed out survival state. Then also, if we're in a stressed out state and upregulated, then we make decisions from this stressed out state, which often does not lead to the best decisions. Now, I'm not talking about healthy stress, okay? There is a such thing as healthy stress, but I'm talking about unhealthy stress. Healthy stress motivates us, it helps us grow and learn, but we also move through it with ease, okay? But unhealthy stress causes de-stress. It lowers motivation, it harms our mental and physical health. So we must learn how to connect to our own thoughts, our feelings, and needs to self-regulate. We have to have the ability to observe these things. That requires us to get off autopilot and be conscious to those things. So really check in. What are you thinking throughout the day? How does that make you feel? We go into a stress response because of how we perceive threats based on our thoughts, the stories we're telling ourselves. Keyword perceived, okay? Oftentimes it's perceived threats. It's often not real threats. So this is why mindfulness is really important. Observing our thoughts that come up for us, how we interpret stressful circumstances. It's not about the circumstance itself, it's how a person perceives it, whether or not we go into a stressed out state or not. Now, trauma often shapes these interpretations. So people react to stress through the lens they see the world through. This lens is based on their past experiences and belief system, right? Their conditioning. And that's why knowing your attachment style can be really helpful, because it can help you understand your subconscious beliefs and patterns. So these beliefs affect your nervous system. And something to note is the law of attraction can also be seen as the law of the subconscious. So to change your life, you have to change your subconscious programs that are constantly running the show, running your life 95% of the time. So part of self-regulating includes noticing a disempowering thought and not identifying with it. Observe it, seek to understand maybe why it's coming up, and lean into how you can maybe reframe it and transform it into a more empowering belief. So to manage our emotions, aka self-regulate, we have to calm the nervous system. We have to be able to bring it back to baseline. So when we calm our nervous system, it signals to the brain, hey, I'm okay. we're safe, like we're good, which elicits more calming emotions, making it also easier to reframe our thoughts. So being in our body, taking deep breaths, signaling to the brain, okay, you're safe, you're okay. So often it can be hard to reframe our thoughts when we're really stressed out. So we want to regulate our nervous system first. If we're really emotionally charged, we want to really do the somatic work first before the cognitive. If it's a 6+ out of 10 charge, you're gonna want to definitely do the somatic work first. So deep breathing, mindfulness, you might go meditate, you might go on a walk, like anything to help your body get back to baseline first. Maybe noticing the sensations in your body, observing your emotions, understanding how to do the somatic work can look like. If you're anxious and you're stressed out, you might visualize a calming stream of water, okay? This is going to elicit a new emotional state, helping you regulate, helping you calm your nervous system. It's going to make it a lot easier to reframe your thought. Understanding the nervous system is crucial. Its state can empower us or disempower us. When we are in an upregulated state like fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, we feel slow moving energy. This energy is also called emotions, aka energy in motion, like sadness, shame, and fear. So these feelings can disempower us and can really wreak havoc on our mind and body if not processed. Then there is our relaxed, down-regulated state. It triggers fast-moving energy, emotions like joy, contentment, courage. This energy empowers us. Now, we all experience a range of emotions as humans. For instance, fear, grief, sadness. Of course, these emotions are going to come up, and when they do, we can process them, which looks like self-regulation too. So if we stay stuck in emotions like fear, we stay stuck in this upregulated state. And as I said, this state has that slow-moving, disempowering energy. And so when we shift how we perceive things, we can shift our emotional state in the stress response, shift out of the stress response. How we perceive things is made up by our thoughts, and our thoughts make up our beliefs. So self-regulation is awesome because it also supports our immune system. I encourage you to just take a look around and notice the people in your life that are constantly negative all the time. Everything sucks. They're in this victim mentality all the time, hard on themselves. They maybe don't take time for themselves. They probably are often sick. They might have IBS. Again, constant survival mode, this upregulated state affects not only our mind, but our body. It's all connected. So doing things that keep you regulated, like mindfulness, deep breathing throughout your day, makes it easier to fight off infections and illness, and really prevents you from being sick. A balanced nervous system also reduces stress and anxiety. So this can prevent chronic stress from weakening the immune system. A regulated nervous system supports also good digestion and heart health. It does this by keeping a stable balance in the body's various systems. It leads to better mood. It also leads to clearer thinking and more resilience. So in short, a healthy nervous system supports physical health. So much positive things that come from self-regulation, right? Like it controls everything. So for instance, I decided to break off my engagement and become a single mom. I would have not been able to be so resilient during that time and make that decision from an empowered state if I did not know how to self-regulate and stay regulated and take care of myself. Being able to be self-regulated makes you feel in control of your life. It makes you feel really connected to yourself. It makes you connected to your heart and your authenticity. It's very hard to be connected to your intuition, your authentic state, when you're in this stressed out state. Being regulated means being connected to your heart, and also helps you be connected to your true essence, your purpose, all these different things. So being regulated allows you to make decisions that align with your true nature. A big thing I see often is clients struggling to sleep when constantly in this upregulated, stressed out state, because the body is stuck in this high alertness, right? The sympathetic nervous system controls this state. So it readies the body to respond to perceived threats. When this response is activated, the body releases stress hormones. So this includes adrenaline and cortisol, which raises the heart rate, blood pressure, alertness. So needless to say, it can cause sleep problems. So it stops the body from relaxing and entering in a helpful sleep state. Instead of calming down, the body stays in this state of hyperarousal, which makes it hard to sleep or stay asleep. So the brain stays active, right? You can have racing thoughts and worries, and this can really prevent, again, the transition to deeper sleep, restorative healing sleep. So if you have trouble relaxing and just being, okay, this might be why. You might be constantly in a stressed out state. Mentally, a dysregulated nervous system can cause mood swings. It can make it hard to concentrate and increase feelings of, again, depression and anxiety. So many things can keep the nervous system dysregulated. This can include ongoing stressors, trauma, unprocessed trauma. Often I see, and I have experienced it even myself, might have trouble communicating when dysregulated in this upregulated, stressed out state. So when stressed, it triggers changes in the brain that affect communication. So the amygdala becomes too active, and this causes strong emotions. Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex is suppressed. So this hampers rational thinking and clear speech. So the hippocampus is also affected, and this leads to memory issues. So if you're like, I don't remember my childhood, or I don't remember this conversation, this might be because you're in this stressed out constant state. Now, back to it affecting communication. So this stressed out state can increase cortisol levels, making you irritable and foggy. It can reduce eye contact and facial expressions. So the brain's fight or flight mode prioritizes survival above socializing, above connecting. So this can lead to defensive reactions and misreading certain social cues. So what does this all mean? You may have trouble connecting to others, and you might feel you are unseen and unheard when you are in a stressed out state. There's been lots of research that when you're in a stressed out state, we just interpret things different. We hear things differently. We receive messages that people are communicating to us. We don't receive it that well. We misread, again, like facial expressions. So it's very important to learn how to self-regulate so you can have constructive conversations. Okay, let's break down the 4 stress responses. So there are 4 types of stress responses: fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. So these responses can be more sensitive in people with attachment wounds, PTSD, complex PTSD, and these conditions can lead to fear and anxiety even when there's no real danger. They're constantly perceiving threats and danger. One major thing that happens is from our experiences, we form these beliefs, certain beliefs, and this is how we perceive things, right? Going back to that reality filter, going back to that lens we see the world through. So to prevent unnecessary reactions, learning self-regulation strategies is imperative. So before we go into each stress response and strategies to mitigate each response, I want to teach you a quick self-regulating tool. So it's 2 quick inhales through your nose and then a long exhale through your mouth. So doing this a few times can quickly calm your nervous system. It can really support you in getting out of like a really stressed out state. These stress responses I will be discussing are essentially coping mechanisms that you picked up. I encourage you to identify which certain stress responses you experience the most, so as I go through each one. So the more painful beliefs you have, the more you will likely be in a stress response often. So something to note is we can get stuck in this upregulated state, especially after trauma, because that might have helped you survive in what feels safe to your subconscious. How I'm addressing this is based on if there is no legit threat, okay, no legit danger, and it's basically our brain is just telling us stories that is not actual facts based on our beliefs, disempowering beliefs. So the feelings we feel obviously are real, but the thoughts creating feelings, they're not always fact, okay? So the first stress response is the fight response. So the fight response is when we decide to face something scary, okay? We might yell or fight, and this is an attempt to assert control over the situation. But always being ready to confront problems aggressively can make it really hard to get along with others and keep us stuck in the problem. So it can really hinder constructive conversations. So to help with this, before reacting, try to take some deep breaths. You might have to take a step back. Notice what thoughts you are having that is maybe creating this emotional charge. Try to see if there is evidence of the contrary of what you're thinking. This pause can give us time to really think about a calmer way to solve problems and making it easier to work things out constructively. Fearful avoidance often respond in this way, this fight response when triggered. Basically, I see often it's around perceived betrayal or rejection. They can often react in anger, also when emotionally overwhelmed and feel insignificant. So then too, there's the flight response. So this looks like trying to get away from something. We're quick to escape, always trying to avoid our problems. We miss out on learning how to deal with them and learning to regulate. Learning to regulate and get out of this stress response. You can again go back to your breathing, taking some deep breaths, bring awareness to what triggered you, what are the emotions that you're feeling, getting really grounded in your body. Notice the sensations that are happening in your body. Avoidant attachment experiences this response often. They may get triggered by a perceived threat to maybe their independence, emotional safety. For instance, if they might straight up avoid someone and not return calls and just ghost you because maybe you put pressure on them for commitment. That's essentially the flight response. That's an example of the flight response. Then there's the freeze response. So this can make us have trouble moving or deciding what to do. It can paralyze us. You might sleep, procrastinate, or not speak up when needed. To break out of this freeze state, try moving your body a bit by standing up, maybe stretching or taking a short walk. Moving can really help our minds start working again so we can think more clearly about what to do next. I've seen all attachment styles really experience this a lot. It's also a reaction to learned helplessness, constantly feeling helpless and powerless all the time. You might perceive you're not enough, maybe you perceive a lack of control over your life, maybe you perceive no one cares that what you have to say. This can lead to this freeze response, shutting down, numbing your feelings, or isolating. Next is the fawn response. This leads to people pleasing, typically to avoid conflict, rejection, or criticism. You might try to meet someone's unreasonable expectations, or you might simply say yes to something when you want to say no. So this can happen when you perceive you will be maybe abandoned or alone, or if you don't please someone, it might create conflict. You might perceive it'll create conflict. Trying hard to make someone else happy, to avoid discomfort, can really make us forget what we want, and it makes us disconnect from ourselves. Pausing, slowing down, and reflecting on your feelings, possible actions you might take before saying yes or no to something is vital. Anxious attachment, I would say, copes in this way often, and of course, fearful avoidant at times. But guess what? There's even people-pleasing, dismissive avoidance that go into the fawn response. Basically, the more intense enmeshment is in childhood, usually means more people-pleasing behaviors. So enmeshment means personal boundaries were blurred, you lacked your own identity, you heavily had to focus on others' needs and ended up disregarding your own. This might have kept you safe as a kid, right? It might have been your only way to get attention or love. It might have been what you saw and learned over time. All of these stress responses, fight, flight, freeze, and fawn, are all learned behaviors and coping mechanisms that helped you survive, helped you get your needs met at one point in time. However, as an adult, it's so important to recognize that this is what led to it, but also take accountability and recognize maybe these stress responses and how I act when I'm in these stress responses are not helping me out. They're not making me feel empowered. They're not helping my relationships out. Now, here's some insight into how each attachment style can start calming their nervous system and learn to self-regulate. So anxious attachment, they're typically connected to their feelings, but they need to be really mindful of their thoughts and stories that create these feelings. They must really learn how to check in first before taking these thoughts and these stories as facts. So challenging stories and learning to self-soothe is crucial for this attachment style. So APs often disconnect from themselves. So including activities that keep you grounded and mindful are really great for self-regulation. Journaling is a great tool. Meditation is a great daily practice. This can all help you really notice your thoughts that trigger this stress response and really notice the stories creating the stress response. Avoidant attachment, they're often in their heads and disconnected from their emotions. So we've got to get you back feeling again and connected to your body. So for me, I went into freeze mode often, flight mode often when I had dismissive avoidant attachment. I would feel stuck and disconnected from myself, which led to me sleeping a lot and feeling really depressed often because I was in this freeze state. In flight mode, I cut people off quickly and didn't express my feelings and needs in the moment. This led to a buildup of unmet needs, and then I just would draw a hard boundary, right? This didn't serve me, this didn't serve my relationship. The best thing you can do for avoidant attachment or any attachment style to get out of this freeze and flight response, or any response really, is incorporating somatic practices like yoga or breath work. Connecting more to your emotions, your body, will help you understand your needs better. Now, before I move on to the next attachment style, if you're curious about what else is affecting your relationships in life, you can get my free energetic wellness audit. It covers almost everything to really help you check in with yourself to see what is creating imbalances in your life that really don't make you feel good. So that link will be in the description below. Next, fearful avoidants are very tuned into their emotions and the emotions of others. So they can also create a lot of stories based on their fears in their head, just like someone with anxious attachment. So learning to self-regulate means not just checking in with your stories, it also means making time for yourself. Fearful avoidants tend to neglect taking time for themselves to decompress. So remember, if you're go, 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 always in action mode, you will become dysregulated. So try to be proactive and create space for yourself. Now, the biggest thing for everyone to really work on is their subconscious beliefs. Otherwise, your coping and behavior patterns will continue. So because remember, our beliefs and how we perceive ourselves and the world often determines if we go into a stressed out state or a calm state when we go through our daily lives. So the more disempowering beliefs, the more you will be in an upregulated, stressed out state. I hope this discussion was helpful, and if you have any topic requests, please post them in the comments below. And if you're ready to transform your life and break patterns, you can click on the link below in the description, ways to work with me. I currently have a waiting list for therapy clients, but you can definitely jump on that waiting list if you want and get notified when something opens up. A few one-on-one coaching client openings right now, but again, space is limited. That's how you can work with me. So again, more info on the link below. I hope you guys take care.